Hello everyone, my name is Paul, and in today's tutorial I will show how the Gene software can be used for trend predictions in stock market, Forex and trading of other commodities. I have no idea how this tutorial will take and how much time it will eat, but my aim is to cover all possibilities you can do with the Gene to reach really the great and best trend predictions. So at first I would like to share with you my observations that I did during my study of the market. And the first thing what I noticed is that many providers are writing this like this, that here 74% of investor account lose money when trading. When I look somewhere else on the other provider's website, here is written 75% of investor will lose their money. Here is the same, it's even higher. Here I see here written 83% will lose their money. If I go to Forex.com, here's the 69%. So it is very high percentage that people are losing their money, and it looks almost like a lottery. And in fact, one thing what I see from that is the big parameter or the big play is the randomness, that it's playing big role here in that. The second thing is that the providers are borrowing you the money. I learned it's something like leverage, that you can spend, for example, $1,000, but to have some profit or something like that, they will borrow you much more, that you can buy these commodities, then you can sell them. And in fact, I learned as an investor, you are taking much more risk than they do, because when they borrow you money and high amount of money, they know that the market is changing maximum 1 or 2%. So in this phase you will lose your money, but they will not lose it almost at all. Their risk is very low, because when someone will borrow you money, you will have to pay them back. But if you lose the money during trading, it is risk, and you can lose them, and no one will guarantee to give you money back. So this what I see the difference between the provider and between the investor. And if I count correctly, 69% will lose the money. So 30, I would make it a little bit easier. So 70% will lose their money. It means 30% will profit from that. So, and if they are profiting from the losers, so that means that the rest is, we have 30 money taken from losers, 30%, and to 70% is 40% is taken by these providers, or it's taken for fees or other stuff. So this is how is my first understanding, and if I am mistaken, please correct me in the comments, as I can be more educated in this area. But this is what I had observed, and I just wanted to point out that the high role still is given by randomness. And here the Gene can come into the play, because it's also generating random numbers and is trying to sort them out and trying to do the prediction based on the wave-like theory. Now we can look for trading like we have here USD and Canadian dollar. And when I scroll down here, we will see the chart. I logged myself into the trading view, so I can go here. And other thing regarding the randomness, as many people are losing their money, so it means it's really not easy to predict the trend. And as I saw there are many charts and ideas from many people or known, and they are doing some kind of lines and curves and many analyses trying to do the right predictions by themselves. They are sharing them with others, and there are people who are taking this knowledge and trying to follow their advices. So you see there are really many of tries, and here the gene comes into the game, that it can be another tool you can use for your predictions. And I think this tool is as good, or it can be even better than the tools they are already using. And I'll be really curious and wondered about your observations using the gene and how good these predictions of trend are. And if you will share them with me, I'll be really glad. You can share them in the YouTube channel, and also you can share them in the Wave Hunters group or somewhere else with me, because my links are in the description of this video. So that's for the beginning. And now I will start to make the first preset. It will be the simplest one and in the same time the quickest one. So I will take some commodity, because you can trade with gold, with oil, with currencies. This is the Forex. So with everything, and the gene can be used for every trading. And let me take the gold. We have here gold and versus US dollars. And here I will open the chart that it's online updated in this trading view. And just now it's shown in days period. So every candlestick is 1 day of trading, and it works like a fractal, that we can change it from 1 second to minute to hours to days to weeks and months. And who knows how to use the gene, you know that it needs some time to generate the predictions and to make some tuning with the history. So for me, I will, let's say, use the day graph, for the days graph. But before this, I will switch it to minutes, just to see how it works, that the trading is really working in real time, and each candlestick represents 1 minute of time. And here is that when it's green, the price of the commodity is increasing, and when it's red, the price is decreasing. So in this time, it's good to buy this commodity, that it will increase the cost and you are increasing your value of the commodity. And then when it's increased, then before it falls down, it's good to sell it for the higher cost and buy it always for the lower cost. And this is for me all about to decide if to sell or buy, but no one knows what the future is or where it will end up. And you see there is a running the time limit in between. It's not visible there, but in that there are many sells and buys, and the result of this is the green candlestick, which is increasing the value, or the red is decreasing the value. Now we see that it's decreasing the value. And what we will work, then we can work with two values, increased, decreased, and also with the size of the candlesticks. That means the current deviations between the opening cost and closing price, let's say price. Now let me switch from minutes to 50 minutes, and every one is just segment of 50 minutes, so we can understand that as fractals of bigger and bigger time. As I change to hours, there are hours, so every 24 candlesticks will be 1 day. And if I switch to 1 day, these candlesticks will be finally green or red candlestick if the price finally during the day was increased or reduced. So you can also select the range for hours, that you can run the gene for 1 hour. But as I learned, if you are using the smaller time sequences, then there is a lot of noise. But why not to use it? It's up to you which range you will select and how long you want to run the gene. But let's say minimum we can state here 1 hour. And for my tutorial I will use 1 day here. And the first preset, what we can do is that we will run the gene for 1 day, and we will use these values. So let me jump into the gene. I prepared for that copy of the activated original, is called now Trading 32, like the tutorial number 32. And the first thing, we will make the preset. So we scroll down to the end of the list, and I will call the preset trading, and the simplest one will be rise and fall. It will represent the green and red candlesticks and their change, like if you can imagine the roulette game where are the black and red fields. So here we will have only one drawing machine, and we will select one number will be drawn from 2. It means we can draw only 1 or 2. So this is our first preset, and here I will activate the gene. And here I have the first preset. Let's say the count of preview slots is 5. The predictions we will have 2. It means in total will be 3. Seed 1 just some number. Seed 2 also some number. Recuperation we can have 5 plus 2 is 7. This is the optimal value. Number of results for today we just put 5, and again swap 1 and 2 can be whatever number we like. Let's create the input and output boxes, and compare with the lottery, it's much simpler to fill in the input box. At this moment, the first try, I will do it manually without any, let's say, using the export files. But after that, I will show how to work the export files taken from the trading website. But this is now the first site that it will be used here. So this was printed. I will put it to the side. And here we have the graph. Just let me... I will hide it, yeah. And we see here, so the rise, for the rise we will use number 2, and for the fall number 1. So if we have 5 predictions here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we are starting with number 1. Then there are 2 green, so it's number 2, 2, 1, and 1. And that's all what we can do. And now we can start the gene. It's running. We got already 100% of matches. That was really quick. Also the length of the history can be much more bigger, but for today's tutorial I did it just 5. So I can end it, and let's see how the best result look. So we got 100% of matches for all 5 days. We have 100% here, and the first prediction is number 2. It means that the next day there will be, the price will be falling down, or sorry, it will be not falling, it will be rising up, and then the next day after the tomorrow it will be 2 times falling down. But the most strongest predictions is always in the first one. These ones are a little bit weaker ones, but it's also up to you how you will use them, and you can always check how the gene was good in their prediction. But as we see, it was really quick to get the same pattern, and then based on the pattern it predicted the future. And so the probability or the chance is really high that you will match also the future. So this was the first try. Then the second will be, I will extend the preset that we consider in the first preset only the changes between the rising and falling. And now what I will include also, to make it more precise and accurate, I will also include the size of the candlesticks. The size is given, this is the deviation or difference between the opening and closing price. Opening and closing price. So let's update the preset, and so I ended that, and I go back to the game sheet, and I will make new preset, and there will be rise, fall, and size, so RFC. And we have 2 drawing machines, independent ones. The first will be the same, that we are selecting just one number and from 2. And the second preset, here we will have to always update the values or the range. and let's check it here. So if we are taking last 5, and we can see here the size of these sticks. So let's say I will try to write them here. So we starting here, it's 3.38, 3.38, then they are the same, 38, then they are smaller, it's 1.2, or 0.91, 0.91, and finally still changing, but as we will do it at the end of the day, 1.47, and we see that the maximum value is 3.38 and the minimum is 0.91. Now the range, we can, for example, we can say that the range will be from 1 to 4 or from 1 to 40, and it can be from 1 to 100. But I will make it easier at this moment, and let's say that we will not lose these things. I will make it from 1 to 40, and you will see how I will put these values into the gene. So let's say we are again selecting just one number, but from 40, and I go back to the gene, make the activation. Now I will select the preset like we have here. We will keep all the stuff here the same like we did before, and let's create again we already see we have the draw 1 and draw 2. So the draw 1 will represent the green and red, and the draw 2 will represent the sizes. The range we have here for the sizes from 1 to 40, and based on the selected sample from the history of the trading, you will always have to, before you start to print out this, you will have to always adjust the preset right here. Just this value will be adjusted, and then what we have to do is correctly put inside the value. So I will write again. So here we have 1, 2, 2, 1 and 1, and the second we will fill. So when I multiply it by 10 and round it, then this is the first. Just let me see if I did it correctly. The first two are, it can be 33.8 and rounded is 34. Here I will put 34, then times 10 is, this is 12, 9 rounded, and 14.7 is if I round it, is 15. Yeah. I did some rounding here, but it's still very accurate. And now we will start the gene. So we are getting the best way with the maximum amount of matches with the history. At this moment we got 50%, so it's more difficult right now to get the maximum amount of matches. I will just try to make and increase the speed to maximum. So let's wait what the speed will be right now when I switch to no tabs and did all things that it's running very fast. So we got more than 3000 cycles per second, but it will increase. So at this moment we have 13,000 cycles per second. And yeah, so at this moment we have nearly 24 hours to run the gene and to have it the best result that we can use for next operation, trading operation, that based on this we can decide to sell or buy. So now you see we got 100 matches with these 2 previous days, and 50% of matches with the 3 days. So let's say when I am running it for the enough time, then I can end it, and I see the best result is number 5 with 70% of matches. That is really good. And here we see it, we got in average 70% of matches, and now the prediction is following. It means that number 2 mean rise, and it will rise the next day, after the next day, and after the next day. Let's say if we can have on Friday, then Saturday and Sunday is the trading is closed, the market is not working. So that can be, if this is Friday, then Monday and Tuesday. And we also see that the price or the value will increase about 35 units, then it will increase 13 and 14. But to interpret it correctly, as I multiplied that the range from 1 to 40, but the real range is from 1 to 4, the deviation, then I can write the values like 3.5, then 1.3 and 1.4. This is my prediction, and both are up and up. As the number is 2, that means the rise of the price of the value. So when you have this prediction based on this, it's good to buy this commodity. And you can have the prediction, I just used the future prediction, it will be always here, and plus 2, that corresponds to this value, but you can have it much more longer, and also the history can be much more longer as well. So that was the simple example, just by using the graph and rewriting the values directly from the graph. But you might do the predictions based on the whole history. If I look to the graph, you see the history is much more longer. And you notice that I'm not working with the absolute value from 0 to the value how much does it cost the commodity, but I am working only with the rise and fall and with these small deviations here. And based on this, what is the highest and minimum deviation, I will set up always the range. So the gene is really useful for this, and it is good tool to use these for these predictions. Even you see that the graph is changing a lot, or there are many hills down and up, but the small deviations are small, and so the range of deviations is, as I learned, about 2% in average. So the gene is really good to use for this. So that was the first example using a small sample of the history, where just we can rewrite it by hand. But there is another way I would like to show now, and this is to use the bigger piece of the history, that your predictions will be much more relevant and accurate. And in fact, we can use the whole history from the beginning that the commodity was started to be sold. For example, if there is a new currency or something like that, or some commodity came to the market, then you can use it from the beginning of this commodity has been started. In this case, what I will do is I will again select the range I want to have the values. It means how much time I want to give to gene to generate the predictions. So as I said, for me, I am using the days, but you can use also hours or whatever. So I can, for example, download the file. If I go here, the export chart data, and you have here it with every minute is downloaded. But I will switch it to days, and export. Here we have it in days. Here is what I'm exporting, and I can change to ISO time. And now I get the file. To get the file, if you are the trader and you are investing or selling, buying, you already have access to these files. I had to make some account here to be able to get this file, but I think there are many ways how to get this file, and this is in CSV format. So at first we should get the file, and now we have to do some operations with the file. So there is a history from the year 2012, and it is very long, the history. So the first thing is that I will little bit reduce it. If you do it by yourself, you don't need to reduce it, but to make it more illustrative, I will make it a little bit smaller, as I have a lot of, you see there are a lot of, so let's keep the last month here, and these ones I will delete. So I have just these values. Now I have to transfer it to the readable format that the gene can understand as well. So we go to data, we click to text to columns, and we cross the comma, so it was every value was split it into the different column. Then we will click next, and what I have to change is this sign, the dot to comma, because you see the values are separated with dots. So the decimals are with dots, but the Excel doesn't work with dots correctly. So this is what I will change and make finish. and you see we got the values, we got everything. So what we are interested is about the opening cost and the closing cost. You might do some investigation also with the high and low, but let's say what is the real is opening and closing cost or price, because this one is some kind of noise. It is in between when it was between the open and close time, and when it's closed this value is finally relevant. So what I will do at first, I will delete these two columns. Then I will make the size of the candlesticks, that is the difference between the closing and opening price, to get this deviation. So we will do simple formula that we will always this minus the opening cost. Now I can update the formula by this. The formula is everywhere, is relevant for the right values, and we see when we got the sizes of the candlesticks, and we see if this value is positive, then it's the green candlestick, and when it's in the negative value, then it is the red when it's falling down, and here it's increasing. The second thing what I will do is that I will distinguish between the rise and fall. So let's put here condition if, and I will put if this value, the D2, is if it's bigger than 0, it means if it's positive, then write here number 2. When it's negative, write here number 1. And I got number 1 because it's negative. And now when I move it down the square, I will get this formula for each case. And you see I got the values for every situation. So at this moment I have 14 values, and I can just put these values into the gene and run the first preset as I did in the beginning. But I will continue, and I will also include the sizes into that. And the size will be, so we will put absolute value of I will call it D2 as it corresponds I need to write here the equal mark. So now I got the absolute values. So we have the absolute values, and I will add some lines. The second thing, or the third one, so here we have the values. Then I want to find the max and minimum. What is the maximum and minimum size of the candlestick? So the max, we will use the function max, and select the whole range I will use in the gene. So we see the max is 26.04, and for the min, again I will use the min function, and I have to use again the range like we have here, and it's 0.3. So I can decide two things. I will show both examples and then we can choose the side. It means that I can say that the range will be from 1 to 30 or from 1 to 100, and based on this I have to recalculate the values. So if I will do it correctly, now I will, if this is just from 1 to 30, I can keep these values and I will not multiply them. It means I will just round them, and that will be all right, let's say. So then put round, and we'll select this value, then semicolon, and number of digits will be 0. So we got these values, and only instead of 0 here we should put right number 1. So these values that I made bold we can use directly in the gene, and in the preset we will put the range from 1 to 30 as I did in this first try. And you see, based on this, when I have these deviations, you see that we are losing some values, that we are not so accurate, but we can say this is accurate enough, and we will use it for the first draw and the second draw. But let's say I would like to make it more accurate, so that at this moment I would say that the 100 is equal to 30. It means I gave this, I'm not the maximum putting as 100, because I can assume that also some of the prediction can be a little bit higher than the maximum value we got from all the previous candlesticks. So let's say 100 is equal to 30. So what we will do is that we will divide. Here we put the coefficient that it's equal 100 divided by 30, and it's 3.33. And now I will do this, that it's equal this value times 3.33. yeah, and move the copy all the formulas down, and we see we got the values that are equal to this one, but recalculated to range from 1 to 30 to range from 1 to 100, that we are not losing the decimal numbers here. The last thing I need to do, because the gene is working only with the whole numbers, last thing I have to do is to round them. So I will use the function round, select the number, semicolon, and there will be 0 digits. And now it's rounded, and we got the range we will use. Let's make it in different color, that we will use this and this right here. So now it's the time to put it into the gene. So if I count right, we have we have -2, 16, we have 14 values. So and just let's copy this a little bit below, because I need to do final transformation to change from why it's not. So copy, and we put the values, yes, not the formulas, but we have to copy the values, because then it doesn't work. We got the values. And now I need to do just transformation that I will change it from columns to rows, as it corresponds to the I will take here, and sorry, because I need to first copy the right range and doing the transformation. Yeah, so I don't know. Okay, I have to put it somewhere here, and then I will transform it. You see, we got the transformation that we are starting. We have the oldest values as they are up, and they are coming to the newest one. So this we prepared, and we don't need to do nothing more. So then I will copy directly into the gene. So now we can go finally to gene, and at first we update the preset. So as I shown here, we got the range from 1 to 100 that we will use for now to be more accurate. And here I go to gene, so I will put here 100, and I go here, and the count of previous slots, this is equal to 14. I can increase the length of the prediction, and now I don't need to forget to select the right preset. Yes, we have these two draws with 2 and 100 range. So now the input and output boxes are created, and it takes some time, so we can little bit wait. So in fact, I'm glad I was able to do all these transformations. It's quite tricky, but we have to do it that the gene understands in the correct way the values. Now I will go back to my file where I adjusted the values. So we can copy them directly like here, and we go to gene, and we just paste values here. So you see we got the values. The first row, as I said before, it's representing the fall and rise, and there is a size of all the candlesticks. And as we are doing the operations with the CSV file, we can really put there much more longer history automatically. So now we are ready to start. And you see we are getting more and more matches. We got the best result, number 3, and we are getting better and better result with more and more matches with the history. So I switch off for a while the monitoring, and we will look for the speed again. So we got 14,000 cycles per second, which is really very good. And if we have one day, we will get really a lot of cycles and a lot of good results. So you see we got a lot of matches, and imagine that you are like a good predictor, that you were able to match correctly almost everywhere during these 14 days. So you were much more successful. It's more successful than 50%. So it means also that, as I've shown in this trading, it's better value than it is here. 83 lose money, so they didn't match, only 30%, and you are here more than 50%. Okay, we gave little time to Gene, and now when it's running for several hours, getting much more cycles and much more higher values, at this moment we get the best result, number 7, with 50%. We will end it, and now the best result is here, and I will highlight the values, and these ones are this is the best, the first prediction for the tomorrow, and then they are for the upcoming days after tomorrow. And now we see that the trend is changing, that is increased, decrease, increase, decrease, and then we got the values 9, 59, 170. So let's go back, and you know we cannot expect directly these values, because that is recalculated range from 30 to 100. So these values we should now recalculate back. And let me, okay, it's in one file, so I will copy these values to the previous file somewhere here. So these ones, this is nothing to do with that, but the 9 we should now if I have so now I have to divide it by 3.33. So this one is equal this divided 3.33, and now I can copy this. So these are the values I can consider that will be in future. Let me make them green. And as it's rise, let's make it a little bit more. This will be green, and this will be red values. So we are in the range we used before. This is the range from 1 to 30. So this we are calculated back to the range that is in the graph, in the real situation. So the current prediction for the next day is that there will be a rise, and it will be about 2.7 points. Then will be after next day will be the drop down and 17 points, then rise, small rise. So in total there will be during these days more fall down than the rise, and it says to you that it's better to sell the commodity and wait for better time to buy it. So you can sell it and you can gain something. So I think I am at the end of today's tutorial, and I hope I was able to cover everything. I don't really know how much time it took today, but I think it's very clear for you, and I'll be glad that you will share your experience with Gene and trading, how good it is in the trend predictions, and I'll be glad to show me some graphs and also some hits that you can share it also in the Wave Hunters group, and you can contact me in the links that are in the description of this video. So I'm really wondered and curious, and let's say for today that was all. Thank you for watching and your attention. If you missed something, just replay it. If you are new here, please subscribe to my channel, provide comments, feedback, give likes. If you saw the video helpful for you, follow me on the links in the description, on the Facebook page and groups. You can support my work and projects on the Patreon and donate my projects also via PayPal me. The links are also in the description on the video, and the next time there will be one of the last video tutorials. So stay tuned and have a good time.